Have you ever seen an elderly neighbor sitting silently by their window day after day waiting for someone who never comes? That silence, that stillness, isn't just a quiet moment. It's something far deeper, something far more dangerous. It's loneliness, and it's killing our elders slowly. In today's world, where everything moves fast and digital connections often replace human ones, an alarming number of older adults are being left behind, not just socially, but emotionally, medically, and even spiritually. And the saddest part, many of them won't say a word. They suffer in silence, hearts full of memories, homes full of quiet, and live slowly slipping away into a kind of emotional isolation that science now confirms is just as harmful as physical illness. According to a landmark study by Brigham Young University, chronic loneliness increases a person's risk of premature death by up to 26%. The National Institute on Aging has warned that social isolation among older adults is associated with a significantly increased risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and even weakened immune function. In fact, the damage that loneliness causes to the body has been compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But unlike smoking, loneliness doesn't leave visible traces. There's no obvious smell, no public campaign warning us. It creeps in through the cracks of retirement, the loss of a spouse, the moving away of grown children, and the shrinking of social circles that once gave life its rhythm. Imagine an elderly man named Harold. He was once a proud schoolteacher, a father of 3, a husband to his beloved Mary for over 45 years. But after Mary passed away and his children moved to different cities, Harold found his days stretching longer and his nights colder. He ate alone. He watched TV alone. He even talked to himself sometimes just to hear a voice in the room. On paper he wasn't sick, but inside something was breaking when a neighbor finally checked in on him after noticing his front lawn hadn't been mowed for weeks. They found a man not physically ill but mentally and emotionally defeated. Harold didn't need a prescription, he needed presence, he needed people. Science tells us that human connection is not a luxury, it's a biological necessity. The human brain evolved to connect. We are wired for companionship. In older age, when physical abilities decline and independence becomes fragile, the role of social connection becomes even more crucial. Yet across many societies today, seniors are increasingly pushed to the margins. Retirement, loss of purpose, reduced mobility, and technology gaps only widen the isolation. Some live in care homes with little to no family visits. Others live independently but speak to no one for days, even weeks at a time. Loneliness doesn't just hurt emotionally, it alters brain chemistry. In a study conducted by the University of Chicago, researchers found that loneliness can heighten cortisol levels in the body, leading to chronic inflammation. It impairs sleep, increases blood pressure, and accelerates cognitive decline. People who experience persistent loneliness are more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. For seniors, whose physical resilience is already reduced, this can be a silent killer. One heartbreaking aspect of loneliness is that it often hides behind polite smiles and quiet nods. Many seniors don't want to be a burden, so they stay silent. They don't ask for visits. Don't call their children when they feel down. Instead, they sit in quiet rooms, flipping through old photo albums, replaying memories that feel more alive than the present. Some even begin to lose their will to live. Depression sets in, appetite disappears, the sparkle in their eyes dims, and it all begins with something that society too often dismisses: a simple lack of companionship. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is extraordinary power in something as simple as a conversation, a daily phone call, a walk in the park, a shared meal, a card on a birthday, a visit, even if just for 15 minutes. These gestures may seem small, but to someone who is lonely, they are lifelines. They are moments of light and long days of shadow. One small act of connection can literally shift the trajectory of someone's mental and physical health. Communities that understand this have seen profound results. In some parts of the world, programs have been created where volunteers visit seniors regularly, or where school children are paired with elderly mentors. In Japan, for example, community cafes designed especially for seniors have shown success in reducing isolation. In parts of Europe, intergenerational housing brings young and old together, creating relationships that are both healing and hopeful. Yet beyond programs and policies, what matters most is personal awareness. It begins with a question: who in your life might be lonely? An aunt, a neighbor, a retired colleague. A quick visit or call might feel like a small part of your day, but for them, it might be the most meaningful part of their week. And for seniors themselves, reaching out even when it feels hard can be the first step toward healing. Joining a local club, calling an old friend, volunteering, or even learning how to use a tablet to connect with family online, these can all help rebuild bridges. Aging does not mean fading away. Every elder carries stories, wisdom, and love that still deserve to be seen and heard. Loneliness is not just a feeling. It is a public health crisis. It is a silent epidemic taking hold of our elders in the shadows of our fast-moving world. But it is also preventable. It begins with awareness. It grows through compassion. And it heals through human connection, because in the end, what we all want regardless of age is to matter, to be remembered, to be loved, and to not be alone. Have you ever seen an elderly neighbor sitting silently by their window day after day waiting for someone who never comes? That silence, that stillness, isn't just a quiet moment. It's something far deeper, something far more dangerous. It's loneliness, and it's killing our elders slowly. In the modern world, where everything moves at a rapid pace, and people are more connected through screens than face-to-face, we've unintentionally created a generation of isolated seniors. Many older adults find themselves alone, not because they chose it, but because life slowly took their companions away. Spouses pass on. Children move to different cities or countries. Old friends die or become unreachable. And suddenly the once lively kitchen filled with laughter becomes a place of silence. The once warm living room now echoes with nothing but the sound of a ticking clock. The heartbreaking truth is that millions of seniors around the world are living like this right now, and many of them won't tell anyone how empty they feel inside. This is not just emotional talk. Science backs it up in shocking ways. According to researchers at Brigham Young University, chronic loneliness increases the risk of early death by as much as 26%. That's more than obesity. In fact, loneliness has been medically compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That statistic alone should make us stop and think how many of our parents, grandparents, or neighbors are silently suffering right now. Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. It can hide behind polite smiles and unfine responses. Many seniors don't want to seem needy or burdensome. They grew up in a time when being strong meant staying quiet. So instead of reaching out, they retreat further into themselves. They might eat alone, sleep alone, and go days without any meaningful conversation. That kind of isolation can lead to a deep sense of hopelessness, and soon the body begins to follow the mind. Take the story of Margaret, an 82-year-old widow who had lived a rich life surrounded by family. But after her husband died and her children moved far away for work, Margaret's days grew longer and quieter. She stopped attending church. She no longer watered her garden, and the only voice she regularly heard was the one coming from her television. She wasn't physically ill, but her energy faded. Her memory began to slip. She even began to lose weight, not because of a medical condition, but because she didn't feel like cooking meals just for herself. Her world had shrunk to the size of her living room. When her daughter finally visited after 3 months, she barely recognized the frail woman sitting in the recliner. Margaret didn't need more medicine, she needed connection. Science explains what's happening in stories like Margaret's. When we experience emotional isolation, our brain's stress responses become hyperactive. The hormone cortisol, which helps us respond to stress, stays elevated longer than it should. Over time, this causes chronic inflammation in the body, leading to diseases like heart conditions, high blood pressure, weakened immunity, and even cognitive decline. Studies have shown that socially isolated seniors have a significantly higher risk of dementia. The mind needs interaction just as much as the body needs food and sleep. The University of Chicago found that lonely individuals have disrupted sleep patterns. Their brains remain in a heightened state of alert, even during rest, which prevents them from reaching the deep, restorative sleep our bodies rely on. This creates a vicious cycle: tiredness during the day, irritability, and even more withdrawal from the world. Bit by bit, loneliness changes how seniors experience reality, but there's hope. Connection doesn't require grand gestures. A 10-minute phone call, a neighborly check-in, a family video chat. These small moments build up, and, for someone who feels invisible, they can mean everything. Imagine an elderly woman who hasn't seen anyone for days, suddenly getting a call from her granddaughter asking how her day went. That small call lights up her heart and gives her something to look forward to. Studies show that even brief social interactions can release oxytocin, a hormone that lowers stress and increases happiness. Communities can play a huge role as well. In parts of Europe and Asia, intergenerational housing programs are proving effective in combating elderly isolation. These programs allow college students to live rent-free in senior housing in exchange for spending a few hours each week with the older residents. In return, seniors gain companionship and a renewed sense of purpose. Even small cities and neighborhoods are beginning to realize the importance of this issue by setting up community centers, coffee mornings, or volunteer visitation programs specifically aimed at seniors. Technology, too, can help if used thoughtfully. Teaching elderly people how to use video calls or social media might seem small, but it opens up a world they thought was lost to them. A grandfather in Germany can see his grandson's school play in Canada. A retired couple in Italy can have a weekly digital dinner with their daughter in Australia. These moments can re-establish the emotional ties that make life feel meaningful. Yet we must also acknowledge that technology is not a replacement for physical presence. Human touch, the warmth of a hug, a shared laugh at the kitchen table, these things matter. Our elders need to be included in our lives, not visited out of obligation, but embraced as vital parts of our families and communities. Their stories, wisdom, and presence enrich us in ways we don't even realize until they're gone. There's also something each of us can do right now. Ask yourself who in your life might be lonely, an older relative you haven't spoken to in a while, an elderly neighbor who always waves from their porch but never has visitors. Reach out, call them, visit them, let them know they are seen, they are valued, and they are not alone. You don't have to fix everything, just being there is enough. Often the simple act of showing up is what heals the most, and to those who are seniors themselves and feeling this quiet pain, please don't suffer in silence. You are not a burden, you are not forgotten, you are deeply important. Take that first step, join a local activity, call an old friend, learn a new skill online, or even volunteer to help others. Purpose can be found in the smallest of actions, and connection begins with just one word, hello. We cannot change the past, but we can shape the future one connection at a time. We can choose to be the generation that does not let its elders fade into silence. We can honor them by listening, by reaching out, and by remembering that love doesn't have an expiration date. If this message touched your heart or reminded you of someone you care about, we kindly invite you to subscribe to Seniors UpLife. This channel is dedicated to sharing life-changing stories, health insights, and emotional support for our elders and those who love them. Your support helps us continue to bring dignity, awareness, and hope to countless seniors around the world, because no one, especially not our elders, should ever feel alone.